I know there's been a problem with Gary Lineker, and I know he's drawn attention to a standard of xenophobic language which he detects in the Home Office bill, which is being presented. The problem is, I don't think that bill is actually intended to become law in any serious way. For it to become law, there would need to be a clear and well-costed and efficient asylum system in place. There isn't. And because of Mrs. May's go slow, because of Mrs. May's hostile environment, we don't stand any chance of having one in any immediate future. Even if we are waving through certain nationalities without much supervision, without a face-to-face interview. What this is, I think, is a nasty and ineffective piece of government skullduggery, theatre, a political farce, a threat, simply rhetoric. It is there to rally the troops. It's not there to solve a problem. Solving a problem would require an international conference and international effort on a grand scale. That is something this government could spend its last few months doing, but it cannot be bothered. Because if it did that, it would have to deal constructively with the European Union, and it's barely on talking terms. That's got better over the last few weeks because of Rishi Sunak's leadership and Chris Heaton Harris's admirable efforts to sort out Northern Ireland. This could all be scuppered by Suella Braverman's bluster. Lots of B's there, a bit of alliteration for fun. So, if you go back to the Nationality and Borders Act of 2022, the thing that was passed just under a year ago on the 28th of April 2022, so it said that it was sending a clear signal. In fact, I can read the preamble. It says, to deter the illegal entry into the UK, thereby breaking the business model of people smuggling networks and protecting the lives of those they endanger. In fact, if you remember, it's pretty well the same rhetoric that Suella Braverman used when she stood at the dispatch box the other day and presented this current illegal immigration bill. The problem is, since the Nationality and Borders Bill of 2022, there have actually been more small boats, fewer asylum decisions, more backlogged, bunged up, constipated Home Office rubbish. In fact, when it comes to the Home Office, probably what would solve the Home Office problems would be a serious dose of Ducalax. Or Laxido would be more efficacious. Especially if the effluent that resulted could be carefully diverted, channeled to avoid an already overcrowded English Channel. I think this is not this one, the current legislation and the one before it are not serious bits of law. And so clearly passing the Nationality and Borders Act didn't send a clear signal. It was supposed to send a clear signal. It didn't send a clear signal. Nothing like the clear signal that was sent by the raw sewage a few months ago that leaked into the English Channel. Now that sent a clear signal. But the Nationality and Borders Act was supposed to send a clear signal, and it didn't. What it said to Parliament and to the rest of the population was nothing. It was just rhetoric. It had no effect. It hasn't had any impact on the behaviour of our population or of those people who wish to join our population. They're still coming. If you look at the new legislation, it goes on about how we must purpose this, we must purpose that, as if the bill is all about intention, not actually doing anything. You know, the Home Secretary must make arrangements. Yeah, we must all make arrangements. Anyway, her arrangements are supposed to be they're supposed to be to particular groups who will be deported from this country. Her responsibility. But she won't be able to do it because there's a practical problem. Where are they going to go? Rwanda, France? France isn't going to take them. Rwanda, France, or are they going to be put in that detention centre in France, which is going to be built by us for 500 million? Is that where they're going to go? Albania? Well, Albania surely will only take Albanians. Or is Eddie Rama going to be so shamed into taking back the Albanians who came here from Kukes from the north that he's now going to be persuaded to take other people as well? I think not, somehow. So the dream of the Foreign Secretary, will that be realised? Well, it may, but it will only be a small flight. Anyway, her decisions, we're told, will be impossible to appeal against. You won't be able to challenge the Home. I'm sure she's going to like that. You won't be able to challenge the Home Secretary. These groups that she is going to exclude, they will have their claims for asylum made inadmissible from that point. So they won't be able to do anything about it. Now, if she were really serious, if the Prime Minister were really serious, he would have done three things. And three things that would make the new illegal immigration bill and the old Nationality and Borders Act relevant and functional. These three things are completely missing from any of this legislation. So it means nothing. So the three things are, number one, to allow applicants to work while seeking asylum. Because the number of people who will be detained while awaiting deportation will far surpass the numbers currently housed in hotels and in receipt of so far 6 million a day. Far surpass that number. So we've got to find some way of shouldering the extra financial burden. The only way to do that is to allow asylum seekers to work, because we'll have our hands full. We'll have our hands full of those failed asylum seekers who must be detained and deported at some future date. Second point, we will need to have a way of establishing proper documentation. Effectively, by stealth, the Home Secretary is going to have to introduce a national ID scheme so that we can know who is and who is not on what particular system. That's not going to go down well. Number three, she will have to introduce people into the asylum system before they get to the UK. So in other words, she will have to reintroduce the embassy or consulate asylum applications which were stopped a few years ago. That's not even being promoted. So in other words, this bill, the illegal immigration bill, is there simply to promote and to foster a revival of xenophobia, the same xenophobic spirit that triggered the referendum. This is nothing more nor less than an early election manifesto. It's testing the patience of our country in as much as it is testing the Human Rights Act of 1998. Actually, it says that. It says it's testing the Human Rights Act of 1998. It's testing specifically Section 19(1)(b). That's the bit where the Home Office has to make a statement saying that it is not our intention to infringe the Human Rights Act of 1998, even if we cannot commit to saying that the bill is wholly compatible with the Human Rights Act of... That would be enough. That would be enough. That much is also playing theatre. It's toying with legislation. It's not doing proper legislation. It's not actually doing the job. It is simply playing around with words. It is rallying the troops with rhetoric. It is simply electioneering. That is all it is doing.